Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Africa. And good evening, Brian Mundubile and Makebi Zulu. The message is simple. I'm happy to see you emerging. Very happy. It gives hope to the Zambians. But the warning is, you have to carry God's agenda as an instrument for you to change government. Changing government is not removal of Hakainde. Changing government is changing people's lives. I remember, if I can browse back, there's a video that I called for all opposition leaders to unite. I will actually put this video again here, or edit it to attach it with this one. But you must carry God's agenda. Indeed, I'm not prophesying anything, because God gave me to say the leadership that would come must be that of a leader that shall carry his anointment. We need a leader that is going to bring natural resources ownership. And you cannot call for natural resources without you being killed if you are not prayed for. All these leaders that are dying prematurely is because of the same natural resources. So I'm not going to be happy to see Mundubile taking over from Hakainde Chilema or Makebi Zulu or soever, or Lubinda or any other taking over. Then he dies for proclaiming ownership of natural resources without him being prayed for. I want you to understand that I'm available for any leader that wants to believe that God speaks today, and that the prophecies that have been fulfilled are indeed God speaking to us. I started speaking about President dying before Mwanawasa died. I gave 3 letters to Mwanawasa, and those letters are still with me. And they are still with other people that I gave. Hakainde Chilema is one of those that have. Christian Kaseva is one of those that have. Emmanuel Mwamba is one of those that read those letters. You can ask them. So I'm not imposing myself to anyone, but I'm there to cry for Zambia, because we do not want to lose Hakainde Chilema. If Hakainde Chilema can leave power this time, then we are going to have a former president, and I can pray for him to live more than 100 years. The letter I wrote to him in 2022, I told him to resign if he has failed to call for natural resources. And I'm also telling Brian Mundubile to say, if you are not ready to be anointed, you are not ready to call for nationalization of our mines and all government companies, starting with the Zamtel, don't go for presidents, because we are going to bury you. These people, they are not ashamed of killing all 6 leaders of Zambia. They are not ashamed, because Zambia is a I don't know what they call a guinea pig or whatsoever, an animal which they use to do experiment. It's a litmus paper. Everything that they want to do with Africa, Zambia has been adopted by Vatican. That's why it is called a Christian nation. The first thing as a leader that you must do is to declare Zambia not a Christian nation. Zambia to be any other nation, because Jesus did not die for Zambia. No. That Christian nation declaration is something in fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Unless you don't believe in the Bible, tell me you don't believe in the Bible, then I'll rest my case. Revelation chapter 13 verse 11. The beast that had two horns like a lamb, and when it speaks like a dragon. That's the identity of Zambia hidden in Bible prophecy. And what kind of a lamb is that one? It's a Vatican Christianity, which is a false worship. Even when you see Hakainde Hichilema fighting with the Vatican, they are not fighting. They are just doing drama to hide, because it's a disguised kind of leadership. So my prayer for you opposition in Zambia is that let every opposition leader come on board, form one government. And that government must bring ownership of natural resources. Failure to bring ownership of natural resources, count me out of my prayer, count me out for my prayers for you. Don't even say amen when I pray, because I know that you are a failure already. You are not different from Hakainde Hichilema, who is captured. You might hate Hakainde Hichilema to a point that you think he's doing this deliberate. It's because of his engagement, his agreement with the Vatican. They are controlling him. He cannot speak anything. Whatever he speaks, they tell him what to speak. Let me add that video, which I shared sometime when I called you opposition leaders. Listen to that message. Thank you for Makebi Zulu. I want to see Lubinda coming on board. I want to see Kasonde Mwenda coming on board. Despite that, Kasonde Mwenda might be reserved. But I would love that if Kasonde Mwenda also avail himself to God to anoint him. Because just a mere proclamation of owning natural resources without God anointing, we are dying. But I'm not part of it. I survived already. My arrest for trespass at UN, which is an office for refugees, UNHCR High Commissioner for Refugees, it was a trap to take me to the grave. I ended up in Viscopis, but God saved me in all these stages. At Kosimapur, where I ate poison, where I survived prison beating. At Viscopis, where I survived lethal injection. It's the God that I'm giving you, opposition leaders, not only in Zambia, but even in South Africa. Julius Malema must avail himself. Cyril Ramaphosa must avail himself. Jacob Zuma must avail himself. Failure to which I'm not responsible for anything. I'm just a messenger to give you warning, to say we've reached at a time when the world doesn't want Africa to be free, when the world doesn't want Africa to own its natural resources. Look how big the buildings they are building using our natural resources. Look how they enjoy their life based on our natural resources, and we are poor. They have destroyed our marriages. Our wives are parading themselves in marketplaces in order to buy food for our children. Our daughters are parading themselves in nightclubs in order to survive, instead of them being in their homes because there's no food. I wish there's someone listening among Makebi Zulu, Brian Mundubile, Lubinda, and those who are arrested. I know they'll come back. Where's Kambwili? Kambwili must stop talking careless against the opposition leaders. He must be humbled enough. He's a good leader. Join your friends. Let's save Hakainde Hichilema, if God would permit us. May God bless you as you listen to this video. Good afternoon. I want to immediately address the issue of the opposition leaders, more especially in Zambia, in regard to who is going to lead the opposition. I feel there are people that need to sacrifice. And if there are people that need to sacrifice, it's the PF government that neglected the call for 90 days national prayer. Also neglected my visiting at Patriotic Office where I was searching for Eddie Kalungu. I searched for Eddie Kalungu until I reached at his old home in Kabulonga. I did not find him. But today, I've been waiting either for any of those aspiring in the PF to seek God's blessing towards the vision of the PF restoration. This vision of the PF restoration is a vision that actually UPND president was given, because this is an open letter to UPND president that was intended for him to do what? To accept the call for PF restoration as an open letter to him, so that he's able to make a decision to serve God and declare Zambia back to ownership of mines, ownership of our natural resources. That was going to do what? To help UPND to be grounded in its fight to fix the economy of Zambia. So as I'm seated here, I want to take it as an opportunity for me to declare, to say, the opposition leaders, they must not consider above everything, consider just a position as president. You can change the country in regardless to which position that you can be. So the 20 aspirants, I can assure you to say, I'm appealing to you to say, when Kaunda could not take serious the warning that I gave him, the wife, I told Kaunda about the death of his wife, and I told him that I saw that I actually was lying at your place. The wife died. And I also warned of his death. And all these things have been happening, not to me. It was not strange, because I knew the reason why God gave me those warnings. God has been searching for a leader that would accept to do God's work, to do God's work. And that leader that has accepted the call of God and that has embraced the call of God is Kasonde Mwenda. When I was in Zambia, I approached one in Lumumba market, a person that I thought he could be of that decision. I asked him, so God has sent me. That is Mr. Msonda. He's one of those accountants there who is gathering the revenue for Baba station. I want to say that when I talked to him, I told him to say my mission was to come and actually declare someone who should take over from UPND, because UPND was not in a position of accepting this offer, because I had even in the dream, when I was in Consumer Puru prison, to say you will return to Zambia after the UPND, meaning that the UPND was not willing to accept that offer of restoring the Patriotic Front policy. I gave this policy to Hakainde Hichilema, and Hakainde Hichilema rejected it. It's now more than 4 months or more than 5 months since I delivered this. And I remember to say I delivered this also in 2022, when it was actually, I was mentioning to say it was 7 volumes, but I realized when I read through this book, it was 5 volumes that I delivered through Dr. Nevas Mumba, the former vice president. So all what I was doing with Hakainde Hichilema, it was to plead to Hakainde Hichilema to say, come back to God. You received the warning in 2008. You received the warning in 2018. I was talking to you and you really needed to listen to God. But instead of listening to God, you have gone further to persecute me instead of you protecting the ministry of God. Because as Judas was coming from the 12 disciples, he was the right person because he had the truth. He knew Jesus more than any other person. He was the right person to betray Jesus Christ. I feel more betrayed under Hakainde Hichilema than these other 6 presidents, because Hakainde Hichilema knows the test of the true prophet who believes in the 10 commandments. And since he has betrayed me, I still have to call to say, Hakainde Hichilema, it's not too late. You can help build up your leadership that we are waiting for. Maybe it can be 6 years from now. If you can call for a United States of Africa, and Kasonde Mwenda can proceed thereafter. But if you are not willing to do that, I want to assure you to say, I'll pray to God, and those who are listening, the more especially my appeal to those in opposition, to say, let all opposition listen to God now by joining hands with Kasonde Mwenda. Because when you join hands with Kasonde Mwenda, you are going to do what? You are going to establish the will of God in your life. We are not here to discuss about salaries, wealth, positions. We are here to redeem Zambia from the hands of the Freemason that have taken control, to redeem Zambia from homosexuality that has hindered our moral characteristic as a nation. Also, the churches that are there have gone silent, meaning that there is no church that is willing to stand for truth. Or what the church they are talking about, give, God shall bless you, buy anointing oil, buy holy water, buy uniform for doctors, buy this, buy coteries. They are making business, busy in business, just to sustain the pastoral institution that they have built as employment to themselves. They cannot condemn anything that is wrong because they are in partnership with the government, which constitute what is called the mark of the beast. So as I'm speaking right now, I want to read some few warnings that are and the suggestion that I wrote to Hakainde Hichilema, and that now I'm imparting to Kasonde Mwenda, the EFF leader in Zambia, and the EFF leader here in South Africa. These two, the EFF leaders, also in addition, Duna Boko, the president of Botswana, I also invite him to this declaration so that they can be able to embrace God's will. They can be able to lead without anyone threatening their presidents. Because the assassinations, everything that is happening, it is only when we are not closer to God. When God is closer to us, we are able to stand all those traps of being assassinated. For example, who knew that this one, Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso, can reach this end? Who knew that he can also survive the assassination from France? And today I want to congratulate the United Nations chief, Guterres, has admitted and supported Ibrahim Traoré, meaning that the prayers that I was praying for Africa to be united, for Africa to find a Moses, even in the United States, in the United Nations, Guterres, the UN chief, is also a Moses to unite the whole world, to rally behind this reformation, to rally behind the political transactions, let me say, the transition of power from donor aid to natural resources dependence. When we depend on our natural resources, meaning that our mines, gold, copper, uranium, emerald, everything is processed by us, and those Western countries that are taking advantage of us, they are actually buying from us. That will be a blessing to an African child that has been left to poverty since the false independence that we have been given. We are just given this independence to be a president in a state house, to be a president in union building, to be a president in any other organization, but the power of money, we do not have that independence. We do not have the control of our money. So I'm saying to all opposition leaders in Zambia, even in South Africa, even in all other countries, let's rally behind the ownership of mines in our countries. Let's rally behind the dismantling of borders. Let's rally behind having one currency in Africa. Let's rally behind having one parliament in Africa so that we can have one voice. And when we have one voice, you find that the good buildings that we see in Europe, they'll be found here in Africa. Africa has nothing because we've allowed the white man to take advantage of us. We've allowed them to own our minds. We've allowed them to control our politics by dividing us, fighting each other as opposition leaders. I want to pray to God to say, let us unite from leadership. Let's have one parliament, one president, one army, one currency, and we are going to stand as a strong continent against the West. This is what God has been speaking. When I wrote this book, I actually wrote this book with restoration PF SATA. So what did I write? Why did I write to Hakainde Chilema? I wrote because I needed to reveal to him the secret of God. And I want to confess that before I served Hakainde Chilema with this note, I actually appealed to the Vice President, Nevas Mumba, and I told him, Nevas Mumba, God has anointed me to come and tell you to say, you should actually call for reformation in politics in line with Julius Malema. This time we need a person that is going to unite Africa. We don't need a person who is a puppet to colonial masters, giving us sweet talks of democracy, which does not deliver any development to us as Africans, which does not give us rights to own anything, which does not give us right even to manufacture vehicles, which does not even give us a right to manufacture even a toothpick, just a toothpick. We have no company that produces a toothpick. As a country, which you say you have a president, you have ministers and so forth, toothpick is just a matter of cutting a tree and it is processed. We can't do that. We can't even produce a cup. We can't even produce anything, even a drink. The one that we are saying Coca-Cola is branded all the way from UK. We are drinking all these drinks not to support the economy here in Africa, to support African manufacturers, but all these products that are coming, we are supporting those from colonial masters. Africa does not need to import anything from Europe. They depend on Africa resources and they give us loan based on our resources, which they dig for free, which they even put their own prices. They even tell us to say private sector must not pay duty for 5 years, and they continue changing the same names, different names, the same company, so that they avoid paying duty, so that Africa can remain poor and poorer each and every year. So this is what I wrote. I said, this is submission number 3. I said, His Excellency the President of Zambia, Hakainde Hichilema, in a letter that I wrote to you in January 2023, I raised the issue of God restoring PF SATA Julius Malema is simply, in my understanding, a person willing to take up SATA's policy in the protecting the national resources that in turn it will provide shelter, self-employment and food for the people. I said this policy that I'm actually bringing to you, it's a policy that should protect the ordinary citizen, to place food on his table, to have an environment that is conducive for survival. The environment right now, when you look around the world, Africans are meant to hate each other, to fight for jobs, to fight to sell in the street, to fight just for a small shop, because all the natural resources are being looted. There is no money. The economy is biting. We can't afford. How can a kwacha be sold 26 kwacha versus one US dollar? How can a rand be sold 18 rand against 1 US dollar? Who is working or who is using other countries? We are working for US, because I remember during Kaunda, the kwacha was 1 kwacha to 1 US dollar, and it was able to sustain. That time, our parents were being paid 3 kwacha, which is equal to 3 rand. But that 3 kwacha was able to buy food the whole month, and even they were able to buy other things that would help us as a family from 3 kwacha. But today, no one can pick a 3 kwacha on the street. No one can even survive from a 300, barely even 3,000. It cannot sustain a family. Even 30,000, it cannot sustain a family in a month. So now, are we improving, or we are going back to slavery, the one which we have been fighting? We are actually in an economical slavery. The politicians of today, they are giving us future with a lot of promises. I actually referred to Obama, to say Obama was a sellout of Africa by promising a change that we can believe in. That change was not sustainable. That change, it is actually proven that it is not sustainable, because today Africa is galloping in poverty. Africa is being rejected by the very system of America that entered into agreement. The donor fund that has been promised, it is never available anymore. What Donald Trump is doing today is simply saying, give me this and that so that I continue to give you donor fund. Do this and that so that you continue to benefit from donor fund. Right now, South Africa is under sanctions because Cyril Ramaphosa decided to stand with Russia. Cyril Ramaphosa is contemplating to stand with Ibrahim Traoré, and America is not happy with that decision. They want to give more sweets to South Africans by supporting division, by arresting Mantashe, to bring the attention of corruption against African leaders. This is what Hakainde Hichilema is doing in Zambia. Exactly the same thing. The money that they are receiving from EU, European Union, they are using it to make sure that they spread division, they spread false allegation of corruption on leadership, so that the more we are divided, they continue looting our natural resources. The more we are divided, they continue enslaving us. We will continue working for the Europeans. We will continue working for America, continue working for Britain, continue working for Vatican. Them they are getting. Or when I want to challenge someone. I want to challenge someone to say, if you want, here in South Africa, stand in N1. On single day, count how many trucks are coming from DRC Congo, from Zambia, from any other country, passing with copper, passing with all these natural resources. You find that you may count even 1,000 trucks can pass in a single day, taking all our natural resources to Europe. And come and ask the president, to say how much natural resources is going out. He doesn't know. The ministers, they don't know. Or what they know is that it is actually in the private sector. So the private sector that we have given the power to run the economy, which exactly we cannot control. We do not have power. As Duma Boko of Botswana actually explained thoroughly on that point. He says the private sector, we have no link with the private sector. And the government literally is surviving on borrowing. So how can a government survive on borrowing when you own all the natural resources? That's the thing that I'm appealing to our opposition leaders. Let us not seek for employment. Dismantle all opposition parties in Zambia. Let it be dismantled. All opposition parties, if possible, even here in South Africa, let them be dismantled so that we can have a united opposition to change government and bring in a system that shall declare ownership of our natural resources, a system that shall remove the AFRICOM, the military bases for America. They are the killing agents of everyone that opposes American policy, that opposes IMF, that opposes World Bank, that opposes the central bank. The inflation rate, they come like no man's business. Without us agreeing, they are controlling us economically. And I want to tell you to say, I'm not here to give you sweets. I'm here to make you understand that my call into this ministry as a messenger, as Jeremiah was assigned to pull out government and to plant. Read Jeremiah chapter 1. Read it. When God said to Jeremiah, go and tell them whatever I will tell you, don't fear their faces. And I'm not afraid of anyone. I'm simply saying, opposition parties, whether you are president, you are what, put down all your posts. Look at the agenda. The agenda is to own our natural resources so that the lives of every individual can be improved, so that we can also build our own Europe in Africa. We can also build our own massive malls in Africa. We can also have respect. The more you are divided, you are fighting for being a leader of a political party, but without a vision, without being anointed by God, without having the grip with God. You go to State House, you find a gun waiting for you. They'll control you. Again, you do the same repetition with Hakainde Hichilema. Hakainde Hichilema promised to say, I'll fix the economy. Is he fixing the economy? Instead of fixing the economy, is actually fixing the people that supported him. The people that are criticizing him in order for him to do what is right. Once you talk against him, you are arrested. What democracy are we talking about? Listen to this. I quoted Mr. Sata. I said, Mr. Sata said, it is sad that a country like Zambia, which is endowed with natural resources, including minerals, water bodies, and wind life, is still suffering from acute unemployment. Zambia has only 13 million people, which is the population of some of the cities in the world. But out of these 13 million, it is most unfortunate that a lot of people are unemployed, and God will never forgive us for that. That's what Sata said. God will never forgive us. Today the population, after Michael Sata died in 2014, the population of Zambia now is about 20 million. Still, it's just like a city, one of the cities of South Africa. But we have more natural resources. We have God. Everything is on the open for citizens to improve the way Ghana is doing. Ghana has allowed its citizens to do what? To dig gold. And Ghana as a country is buying from its citizens and is giving them a good price, and they are able to sustain their families. That will reduce what? Reduce theft, reduce robbery. It will reduce even zombies, these people who call nyaupes that are just surviving on drugs because they literally have nothing to do. If as a government we can have control over all our natural resources, be able to pay people with meaningful salaries, Africa will return back to those days where you can give someone money to say, can you take this money to my neighbor? That money will reach without being disturbed. But today, you give someone money, that person would rather change the city, go somewhere else with the money, because the situation is not conducive. Our economy has been destroyed. We are living in a situation where we are actually masters, but in the actual sense, we are slaves economically. This is what Michael Sata said. You can keep your money, just give us technology, because that is what we need to sustain ourselves. No country has ever developed by begging. So when Sata